Connor has just been released from doing a 5-year stint in prison after taking the rap for the misdeeds of others, including Garrett, who recruited him to be part of his crew who used their superpowers to break the law. Sean doesn't waste any time reuniting the two as Garrett is waiting for Connor as he walks out of jail. Garrett has climbed the criminal ladder within the fictional Lincoln City and has become the boss of his own crew and wants Connor to rejoin the group, so they can rule the streets together. Initially, Connor tells Garrett to forget it as he has already done enough time for the crimes of other people, but soon their paths cross again despite Connor's best efforts to stay away from the malfeasance Garrett is involved in. Within Lincoln City, 4% of the population is superpowered. The other 96% are wary of these unique people, as are the police who rule over the city with an iron fist. They deploy dozens of drones that are charged with catching criminals, specifically the kind that have special abilities. Connor is an electric, meaning he has the power of electrokinesis, which allows him to generate large amounts of electricity and electromagnetic pulses that can do serious damage. He is an anti-hero who is constantly trying to do the right thing and fit into society the best he can. He even chooses to mop floors at a local community center for kids to stay away from the criminal element. Garrett has the useful power of telekinesis, which allows him to move things with his mind and his extended hands. In the second installment of the franchise, a crooked police sergeant named Kingston, or King, is using a new program that involves the deployment of robotic K-9s that are programmed to further police and secure the citizens of Lincoln City. Only he is using the technology to both extort local crime bosses like Garrett and kill the specials with an overdose of a substance called psych, which is a marrow taken from the bodies of people with superpowers and has an effect similar to opiates. While working to expose Sergeant Kingston, Connor meets and befriends a powerful teenage transducer named Pavani, Pav, who is the younger sister of a Turok who has the power of camouflage and was killed by one of Kingston's rogue K-9 robotic dogs with an overdose injection of the street drug psych. Her rare power of technokinesis will serve them well in the end as she can control technology with her mind. But in the meantime, Connor tries to convince Pav that she needs to erase the memory of her brother's death as it would expose King and the LCPD, which endangers her life and the lucrative relationship between Garrett and Sergeant Kingston. But Pav refuses to let go of the memories of her beloved older brother. When Garrett shows up at Kingston's house posing as a cop buddy of Kingston's to his wife and tells him that he has the proof to expose his plan to use the K-9 units to eliminate the specials, it accomplishes two things. First, it makes Kingston expose the telekinetic powers that he's been hiding, and it also sets the stage for an action-packed closing sequence that will require all the powers of Connor, Pav, and Garrett. As he is doing this, Kingston and the entire LCPD are assembling outside the building to arrest Garrett, Connor, and Pav. Garrett again tries to renegotiate his split with Kingston using the data as leverage. But he doesn't expect Kingston to stab him, and he falls to the ground bleeding out. As Garrett lies dying, Kingston, a K-9 unit, and a SWAT team enter the building with orders to take the head of the K-9 robot, which has the damning evidence. The SWAT team fires non-lethal sandbags to try and neutralize the specials and Garrett's crew, but they escape the room still in possession of the head. Connor and Pav are left running on their own. As Connor tries to defend Pav against a rogue K-9 unit that is trying to kill them, he tells Pav to run. Connor thinks he has crashed the dog with a powerful electromagnetic pulse, but the unit revives itself and injects Connor with a lethal dose of psych. But before the full dose can be administered, Pav arrives to save the day. She places her hand on the dog's head, jamming its programmed instructions just before Connor dies. When Kingston's henchman officer Sorelli shows up in an elevator with another K-9 unit to kill them, Pav controls the dog in her hand and programs it to run directly at the other unit which is racing quickly down the hall toward them. They collide and the K-9 unit she is controlling destroys the other one. The powerful teen's eyes are glowing red as she sends the K-9 running towards Sorelli, incapacitating him. We then see that Pav has suffered a serious stomach wound that is bleeding out. Connor carries Pav out of the building where the LCPD barks at him to get on the ground. He gently lays Pav down and a K-9 unit is sent toward Connor. This time he is saved by Garrett, who uses his telekinesis to implode the K-9. Pav plays the incriminating video on the air across the city and Kingston is shown to be a corrupt cop. Kingston emerges and draws his firearm, only to be neutralized by Garrett again, forcing Kingston to point his weapon at his head. He succumbs and is arrested by LCPD on the spot. The final sequence of the movie shows Connor back at his job at the community center that is now thriving. He meets Pav and hugs her. Kingston is shown on TV exposed as a corrupt cop. The final scene shows Garrett knowingly watching as the reporter speaks of a large amount of money donated to regulate Lincoln City PD. He has given some if not all of his drug money up for the good of the people.